Howdy, and welcome to Lead to Grow, Lesson 4 on Relationships and Results. In Lesson 4, we're going to discover if you lead followers or leaders. A few years ago, I had the pleasure for 1 year of being part of a group of 16 leaders who were mentored by John Maxwell. In one of the discussions, John stated 90% of all leaders lead followers. For a very long time, I was part of the 90%. In my early days of leading my business, I learned that I was leading followers. Let's look into the true motives why leaders want to lead followers. They want to hold on to the power instead of sharing the power. They want to take recognition for your success instead of sharing the recognition by reproducing yourself in others. They want to spend time with people instead of investing time in them. And they they want to focus on correcting people's weaknesses instead of focusing on people's strengths. One of the first steps to move from leading followers to leading leaders start with you to maintain and enhance relationships. In other words, how you say and do as you drive for results, what you say and do. So let's look at what the Bible teaches us about relationships and results. When you enhance relationships in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8, it says, above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins. And as you try for results, in Colossians chapter 1, verse 10, it says, so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God. Over many years, I served in a leadership role at several nonprofit organizations. There's one thing I learned for sure when serving in nonprofits, and that was volunteers will test your leadership skills to the maximum. Why? Because volunteers don't have to be there. They can jump ship anytime they wish. And when they drop the ball, and many do, you can't throw a temper tantrum. Here's the other reason my nonprofit leadership roles were challenged. Many of the people I led were also leaders. I was actually learning how to lead leaders, not just followers. I didn't know it at the time, but my experience in the nonprofit world helped prepare me for the next stage of leadership in my company. I discovered the one component that's necessary if you want to cultivate leaders and not merely direct followers. You must allow your employees to be engaged and get involved in the decision-making process. This serves to nurture the relationships needed for you to thrive as a leader and for your company to grow and prosper, even as you execute better, more informed decisions. It has other benefits, though. It also allows your employees to grow, to take ownership in decisions, and ultimately transition from followers to leaders themselves. Although I had good intentions and thought I was helping our people, for years I kept the decision-making process as a responsibility I carried alone. This way of thinking may have left have been left over the early years and the early when we were a much smaller family business and I did just about everything. Or perhaps it was my pride that caused me to think I was the only one who had the ability to go through the decision-making process. Or maybe it was a combination of both. But I learned that all leaders can experience extraordinary results by incorporating new key components into their leadership. Enhancing relationships has two components: how you say things and how you do things. And I had failed in the doing. Once I began to encourage our people to actively involve in the decision-making process, I was able to build a peak performance team that achieved extraordinary results. So, do you lead followers or leaders? What are your motives? Your answer will determine the potential of your leadership. Well, in lesson 4, we've been discussing if you lead followers or leaders. So may I challenge you with a few more questions? Are you leading followers or are you developing leaders around you? Are you missing a key leadership component? What are your real true motives? Well, in this lesson 4, write down 1 or 2 action items that you would like to take today. And this concludes lesson 4 on relationships and results.